WMNF Radio in Studio at 620 proudly presents the Lux Radio Theater 1947 version of It's a Wonderful Life by Francis Goodrich, Albert Hackett, and Frank Capra. This is the story of George Bailey, citizen of Bedford Falls, New York. George Bailey, who more than anything under the sun wanted to see the world. The wonderful, exciting world that lay somewhere beyond the limits of his hometown. Oddly enough, this story does not begin in Bedford Falls. In fact, it doesn't begin anywhere in the world. It begins in heaven, where the superintendent of angels has just summoned an apprentice angel named Clarence.
Oh, I'm really going down to Earth, sir? Oh, how splendid.
Yes, there's a very discouraged man down there, Clarence. George Bailey. At exactly 10:45 p.m., Earth time, he'll be thinking seriously of ending his life.
Oh, dear, dear. His life.
Now, I want you to stop him if you can. Now sit down. Sit down. I'll give you Bailey's case history.
Sir, if I should accomplish my mission, may I perhaps get my wings? I've been waiting over 200 years now, and, well, people are beginning to talk.
Clarence, what's that book?
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, sir. I was reading it when you sent for me.
Oh, fine book. Excellent, excellent. Well, now, you do a good job on George Bailey, and we'll see about your wings.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Now, listen. When George Bailey was a boy, 2 events occurred that you should keep in mind. One was when his young brother Harry fell through the ice and almost drowned. George saved him.
Brother fell through the ice. George saved him.
And ever since, George has had a bad ear. You know, all that icy water, you understand.
Bad ear. Yes, sir.
Okay. The other event came a few months later. George used to work after school in Mrs. Gower's drugstore. One day, Mrs. Gower's only son died of influenza. It was a terrible blow, and poor Mrs. Gower tried to lose her grief in whiskey.
Where you been, George? Mrs. Blaine's called twice. What happened to her prescription? You lost it, didn't you?
No, Mrs. Gower, here it is.
Are you good for nothing? Don't you know the Blaine girl's very sick?
Ow, Mrs. Gower, my ear. You're hurting my sore ear.
I'll teach you to loaf, you lazy brat.
Mrs. Gower, you don't know what you're doing. You put something wrong in those capsules.
Shut up.
I know you feel bad, but look, Mrs. Gower. Look. This bottle. You use this bottle to make up the capsules. It's poison.
Poison?
Oh, don't hurt my sore ear again, Mrs. Gower.
Poison? Oh, George.
Oh, it's why I didn't deliver, Mrs. Gower. All I wanted was to make sure.
Oh, George.
Well, Clarence, that was George Bailey as a boy. When he grew up, he wanted to go to college, but there just wasn't the money. So he worked for 4 years in the Building and Loan Association.
Building and Loan Association?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. George's father was in the building and loan business. He and George's Uncle Billy. High ideals and low bank account. Anyway, George worked for his father and saved enough to see him through the university. That summer, though, he was going to Europe. Got a job on a cattle boat. Do a little traveling before college.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's hard to realize it's my last night at the Bailey boarding house.
We're sure going to miss you, George.
Oh, I'm going to miss you too, Pop. Hey, what's the matter? You look tired.
Oh, I had another tassel with old Henry Potter today.
I thought when you put him on the board of directors, he'd eat us up.
So did I.
I just can't understand a man like Mr. Potter. He can't begin to spend all the money he has.
I guess Potter owns everything he wants in Bedford Falls except our building and loan. And that's why he hates us.
Hey, George, can I borrow your tuxedo studs?
Yeah, help yourself, Harry.
Well, where are they? In your suitcase?
No, I'm not taking a tuxedo on a cattle boat, you know.
Say, where'd you get that suitcase anyway?
For Mrs. Gower. Going away present. One of these days you're going to see that bag all covered with travel labels. Italy and Baghdad and Samarkand.
George, you're going to have a pretty full summer, huh?
I'm going to have a pretty full life.
Hey, why don't you come to the dance tonight?
What? Be bored to death?
Well, you couldn't want a better death. Lots of pretty girls. Hey, I gotta hurry.
I wish we could send Harry to college with you.
Oh, we've got that all figured out now, Pop. He'll take my job at the building and loan, work 4 years like I did, then he'll go.
He's pretty young for that job.
Well, no younger than I was.
Maybe you were born older, George.
Huh?
George, when you get out of college, I don't suppose you're coming back to the building and loan.
Oh, no, Pop, I just couldn't. I couldn't face being cooped up for the rest of my life in a shabby little office. Oh, I'm sorry, Pop. I didn't mean that. It's just that this business of nickels and dimes, I'd go crazy. I want to do something big, something important.
In a small way, we're doing something important, George. In that shabby little office, we help people figure out how they can own their own homes.
I know, Pop. I just wish I felt that, but I just feel like if I didn't get away, I'd bust.
You're right, boy. You get yourself an education, then you get out of here.
Oh, Pop. Hey, Pop, do you want a shock? I think you're a pretty great guy.
Well, thanks, George. I'm glad to hear it. Look, why don't you go over to Harry's dance? You'll have a good time.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I will drop in. Maybe I will at that.
So George Bailey went to a dance. Is that important, Joseph?
Why, it was at that dance that he met Mary Hatch.
Oh.
And 3 hours later, he was walking her home. George and Mary were feeling pretty good. As a matter of fact, wonderful.
Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight. Come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Hot dog.
Oh, beautiful.
Boy, just like an organ.
At least.
Gee whiz. You know something? If it wasn't me talking, I'd say you were the prettiest girl in town.
Well, why don't you say it?
I don't know. Maybe I will. How old are you anyway?
18.
18?
Too young or too old?
No, just right. Sort of fits you. Hey, look where we are.
Oh, the old Granville house.
Yeah, I gotta throw a rock.
No, don't. I love that house.
Well, don't you know about deserted houses? You make a wish and then throw a rock.
Oh, George, it's such a lovely old place. I wish I lived there.
In there? I wouldn't live in it as a ghost. Now watch. Watch this. Here we go. How about it, huh? Pretty good shot, huh?
Oh, what would you wish, George?
Oh, I don't know. Not just one wish. A whole hatful. Mary, I'm shaking the dust of this crummy town off my feet, and I'm going to see the world. Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum. And then I'm coming back here and go to college and see what they know. And then I'm going to build things. I'm going to build airfields and skyscrapers 100 stories high and bridges a mile long. And then I'm going to... Hey, Mary, what is it you want? What do you want, huh? You want the moon? All you got to do, just say the word. Now...
Okay, the moon, I'll take it. Then what?
Then what? Well, then you could swallow it, and it'd dissolve like aspirin, you know. And the moonbeams would shoot out of your fingers and the ends of your hair and the... You think I'm talking too much?
Yes. Why don't you kiss her instead of talking her to death?
How's that?
You wasted on the wrong people.
Hey, just a minute, mister. Hey, you come back here and I'll show you some kissing.
George!
Hey, Uncle Billy. Hey, look here, I'm gonna kiss Mary. Watch.
George, get in the car, quick. Your father's had a stroke.
What?
George, hurry!